Alexandra Levit's goal is to help people find meaningful jobs, quickly and simply, and to succeed beyond measure once they get there. A best-selling author and renowned international speaker, Alexandra has published several books, including They Don't Teach Corporate in College, How'd You Score That Gig?, Success for Hire, MillennialTweet, and New Job, New You. A columnist for the Wall Street Journal and Metro US, Alexandra regularly speaks at corporations, conferences, and universities on workplace issues. In addition to sharing concrete strategies that listeners can employ tomorrow, Alexandra peppers her remarks with real-life anecdotes from her 10 years in the corporate world. Alexandra is a member of the Business Roundtable's Springboard Project, which is advising the Obama administration on workforce trends. She is a frequent national media spokesperson and has been featured in thousands of outlets, including ABC News, The New York Times, USA Today, and National Public Radio.
How many of you feel more kindly toward your Gen Y relatives, let's say children, nieces, and nephews, than you do toward the similarly aged people who work in your office? Thought so. And how many of you have kind of had enough with Gen Y employees who walk into the place like they own it? Yeah, me too. And how many of you are harboring a little bit of doubt that this young-looking girl/woman has anything valuable to tell you about how you can get along more effectively with Gen Y? Well, let me assuage one concern right off the bat. I'm not quite as young as you think. I'm actually a card-carrying member of Generation X. We are the big brothers and sisters to Generation Y, born roughly 1964 to 1977. And I have been in your shoes as both a manager of Gen Y employees and as a 20-something workplace expert. And I sure have had my challenges. So what makes Gen Y different? Well, let's start with their sheer size. How many of you thought the boomer generation was the biggest? Okay, I see a bunch of hands. Actually, it's not true. Gen Y has surpassed the baby boomers as the largest generation in American history. There are between 75 and 80 million Gen Yers in the United States right now, and the majority of them will be in the workforce within the next 10 years. So what does this look like? Well, I was actually working with a Fortune 500 food manufacturer this year, and he told me, the CEO, that in the year 2008, the average age of their engineers was about 57 years old. And he estimated that by 2015, the average age of their engineers would be 27 years old. 57 to 27 in a matter of a couple of years. How's that for a transfer of power? Cardinal rule of communications is that you must deliver the message in the form that people want to receive it. Gen Y carries their devices everywhere. So if you want them to read something, you have to break it down into tiny little chunks and send it to them via text message or instant message on their phones. If you have a training program you want them to listen to, don't make them go somewhere to download it. Make it into a podcast that they can play on the train on their way to work. This may sound complicated, but in fact, these are things that you can do a little bit at a time with help from your existing Gen Y employees. I've got a couple of clients who started off very small who are now very active in these spaces. Microsoft is one of my clients. They, this year, created an entire online network specifically for soliciting Gen Y's feedback. They also have put a couple of videos on YouTube.